I can tell the story of my own grandfather, my father's father, who came from Russia around the turn of the century. He had a push cart, and he used to take that push cart and collect used furniture, junk, and all that stuff, and sell it. And then after a while, he had enough money to open up a store. But that story of my own grandfather is the same story of so many of these other people who came to Oklahoma.
I would put it this way always. There are three, I call them the 3 Ps. Poverty, persecution, pogroms.
The pogroms. Oh, Jews weren't safe hardly in any place in Europe in those days. Come charging into town on horseback with drawn swords and kill as many people as they could and charge out.
My great-grandmother, she was here. I was a teenager, and I took her to the Delman Theater to see this movie. And there was a scene in it where they have a pogrom. She jumped up and ran up the aisle, and I had to chase after her. I couldn't imagine. She had lived through one, and it was just more than she could handle watching it.
Most of the Jews in this country date back to the families that came here to escape the pogroms.
In most places, Jews weren't allowed to own property, and so that then meant Jews had to be in other kinds of occupations that, for instance, weren't agricultural.
They weren't farmers. They didn't come to farm the land. They came as merchants. They came as dry good merchants.
And they opened food stores very often. They were butchers. And it was said that every town had to have its Jew store, because that's the place you went to buy your fabrics to make your clothing with, and the other things that you needed to set up housekeeping and what have you. And it was the Jews that did that.
What are the professions that you typically associate with Judaism? And commerce and trade and tailors these are fairly historic.
I was told from the time I was a little kid to have a trade. They can take almost everything from you, but they can't unteach you. There's a man in town, for instance, that has a shop. Now, he was in Auschwitz for years, but his father and his grandfather taught him tailoring. And he survived because he had a trade.
So they took us from this place, they sent us to Auschwitz. Shoemakers we need, tailors we need. And we start making the uniform, not for the soldiers, but for the SS.
My father, he was a printer for the Tsar. He was able to be in certain areas because he worked for the Tsar, where Jews had to live in what they call a shtetl.
Dating back centuries, there were laws that excluded Jews from many professions. There were certainly laws that said, you have to live here and you can't live here.
There was a lot of push, but there was also a lot of pull. I mean, the magnetic element of America.
So part of it might be from this concept that we were a dispersed people, scattered to the four corners of the earth.
My feeling about it is that all of these people came, and they came for their own reasons and looking for their own rewards, but they came from a tradition that says you make the world better.
Tulsa became their home, not just a place where you live, because there's a difference between the two. But I think for those historical Jewish families who lived here, they were determined to make Tulsa their home, and they passed that determination on to the generations who would follow.
It was sort of ingrained into, and I can't tell you whether it was the religion or the family, and I think it was more the family unit.
One man can make a difference, a person can make a difference, and one has to try. And so I think that's a very important concept, that you work for something bigger than yourself.
The word is justice. In other words, when you're giving, you're not
doing it as charity. You're doing it as justice, that it's the just thing that you do.
I think a fundamental reason why our people has survived despite great odds and great travails many times is that we're focused on teaching the next generation the tenets of our faith, telling our story and passing it down from generation to generation to generation.
Is a lovely phrase, l'ador vador, from one generation to the next. And it means that I'm building for my own life and I'm building for the lives of the people around me, but that I want some part of this to flow across generations so that we communicate with each other and we also speak a word into the universe as a whole and hope that our own descendants will hear that word and act out its demands.
My name is Joe Deegan.
My name is Betty Schlanger-Wazowski.
My name is Malcolm Milston. I'm going to make it Sherman Ray.
I'm Norm Levin. This is my wife, Shirley Levin.
My name is Will Sanderton.
My name is Susan Fenster.
I'm Norman Fabes.
My name is Maxine Zarrow.
My name is Yolanda Charney.
My name is Joseph Simon Jankowski.
I'm Stacy Schisterman.
My name is Don Snitz.
My name is Dave Ralph Sylvan.
I am Franklin Moskowitz, and I am from Tulsa, born and raised. Born in the Flower Hospital at 523 North Boulder in 1923.